We will now meet a representative from Insplorion, and Insplorion has 4 branches of operation: battery, air quality, and hydrogen sensors, as well as NPS-based research equipment. And it's my pleasure now to introduce Patrik Dahlqvist, who is the CEO of Insplorion.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Yes, so I'm here to present Insplorion, where we work with a sensor technology that is used for helping out in for a faster transition for fossil-free energy, monitoring clean air, as well as developing instruments for research. In short, we are a Gothenburg-based company. We are sprung out of the research at Chalmers University, where our founders back at the end of the 90s started to work with the nanoplasmonic sensing technology. And that is our base, and that is what the company is founded on. And it's a technology that is verified, it is patented, and it enables to make sensors that are small yet robust, as well as making them scalable and easy for production. We're working in 3 business areas with 4 products. Research instruments that we've been doing since the start, and had with the first sales already 1 year after that we started the company. Gas sensors, we've been working with the air quality nitrogen dioxide sensor for about 4 or 5 years, and fairly recently also started with our hydrogen sensor, but that is a project where we've focused a lot lately and been able to move quite fast. And then the battery sensor project, that's probably where we have the biggest potential in market, but it's still more in the development phase. But we are making some good progress with getting the technology into German automotive manufacturing industry, for instance. But sensors, why invest and think about sensors on the grander scale? And it's a good time to be a sensor company. The reason is that there are quite a few global trends that are supporting the need for sensors. We have an increased automation in basically any industry, and to be able to automate, you need to sense, otherwise you can't steer. It's also an increase in safety demands, especially in these newer technologies. Batteries, they are getting more energy dense, and that also makes them more explosive. And also hydrogen, of course, which is an upcoming explosive gas that still is very useful when it comes to helping out in making a quicker transition to fossil-free energy. And how do we fit in, and why do we act in these areas? And that is basically because when we come in with a new sensor technology, old existing areas, they usually have been able to optimize and solve their main problems. But where there are unsolved problems when it comes to optimization and when it comes to safety, that is where there are growing technology development. And that is within hydrogen, battery, as well as gases for monitoring. It is areas where we are working where there is a fairly big markets already. They are even more expected to grow. The biggest of the one that we're in is the lithium-ion battery market, which is getting close to $100 million by 2025. But hydrogen is picking up fast. It's seen as second, but it's picking up quite fast with an expected market value for fuel cells close to a little bit about $40 million. Environmental monitoring is the smallest market where we're active, but it's still decent figures. It might look fairly spread out and broad when looking at Insplorion from the outside, working with hydrogen sensors, battery sensors, and air quality sensors. And then on top of that, been selling it as a research instrument for 10 years. But from the inside, it actually looks the same. They are all based on the same technology. So from the inside, it's the same, just using it in a few different ways. And what is this from the inside? It is basically that our researchers back in the end of the 90s, they started to see that working with nanoparticles could enhance a sensor signal in a very efficient way. After 2 PhD theses back in 2010, the first patent was filed, and it is by using nanoparticles in a smart way so that the rest of the electronics can be simplified. In a sense, our nanoparticles are enhancing a signal, a chemical signal most of the time. And in that way, we can use cost-effective light source as well as detector and still have reliable and good data coming out. So thanks to using these nanoparticles that simply are measuring a color change when any chemical substance gets close to them, that is how we have this platform. And then the way that we coat our nanoparticles, that's how we make it selective to different things. So for our hydrogen sensor, we're working also with mixing it with platinum, and in that way we can target it to hydrogen. When it comes to the battery application, it's a coating of graphene or being close to graphene, and then it's lithium ion so that we're mainly measuring. During the time, we also expanded our patent family from the first mother patent to a little bit more applied type of patents, one for using the technology as gas and one for using it as a battery sensor. One slide about our research instruments. It's where we started. The real good strength is that it helps to verify the technology. We now have products that are used for research within material science, usually looking at gases at different temperatures, catalytical applications, but that's also where a lot of the work has been done for instance, our hydrogen sensor. We have now 2 different products for life science applications, and then we recently started to package our portfolio so that it fits a lot better to battery research. I'm getting back to that. But the strength is really that it helps to verify our technology. It's now more than 100 scientific publications out telling everybody how the technology works. So we don't get these questions that we have had in the beginning. Does it really work? Yeah, you just pick up any scientific publication in your area. It also helps us to ensure that we find the right applications where the technology fits. So a lot of the work on the research side has helped us to find how we fit in gas applications as well as in battery applications. One slide about our air quality sensor. It is now in early market and sales phase, where we are conducting customer projects and integration projects. We have an ongoing collaboration with a company called Leading Light. I think that is a good example of where we are, where we basically have our sensor and where we're working together with them because they already have a connected system. So basically they are up and running and have solved the infrastructure when it comes to transporting the signal, and then we simply add our sensor so that we for cities and the communities can make a much more complete offer, not only smart lighting, but also monitoring the air quality at the same time. But lately, where we have had most traction and most interest, it's it's moving out from the Nordic countries. That's where we started because that's where we had the closest collaborations. But we get much more traction in the UK, so where we, for instance, have this collaboration with Urban Flows Observatory. And the reason is because they simply have crappier air there. They have bigger problems with nitrogen dioxide. It's also there where we start to see where we have most of our integration projects that we hopefully can talk a little bit more on down the road. And it's not only, that's worth to mention, it's not only about monitoring. We have shifted more into also ventilation control of premium ventilation systems. Hydrogen, that is fun because that is where we have been putting most of the efforts of the company during the last year. The reason for that is obvious. You can't almost go a day without having any new news about new investments in the hydrogen economy. Fairly recently, the Gothenburg Harbor announced their big projects. We have the Hybrid up in the north, where steel is going to be manufactured with hydrogen in a fossil-free environment. But when scaling up hydrogen, that's also when it becomes obvious that there are quite a lot of optimization that is needed, as well as there are continuous safety concerns. And that's really where we come in, to help out both on the research side, but long-term on ensuring that there are safe operations and that the system, the new hydrogen systems that are set up, becomes efficient in the way that we work with hydrogen. What is nice with our sensor when it comes to using it as a sensor is that there is publication out there showing how we have the world's fastest hydrogen sensor. When it comes to safety, speed, of course, is of essence. It doesn't really help to send off alarm after it has exploded. So that truly gives us a good, unique selling point. The reason why we've been able to work fairly quickly with our hydrogen, it's our youngest project. It is because it's based on the same platform as our NO2 sensor. So in essence, we can reuse quite a lot of what we have already invested in our NO2 sensor. And we are now running mainly the project together with Chalmers as well as PowerCells, so that we both bring in the top-notch knowledge and on the core technology, on the coatings and so forth, as well as ensuring that it gets customer-driven early on. So except for the product development that we have been focusing on lately, and where we have the objective to have a customer prototype, that's basically a prototype that can work in an explosive environment by the end of the year. We're of course also working with the business development so that we have something, someone to put in the hands, some hands to put the sensor in when getting it out. One thing that also have helped lately is that we could announce that we are selling research instruments for hydrogen development to IFER, and this we could announce 2-3 weeks ago. And that gives us a good reference site in the heart of Europe when it comes to hydrogen research, and it will help us in open up both academic but also industrial doors for our hydrogen technology. When it comes to batteries, it's also a new technology, maybe not as new as hydrogen. At least it has been a lot more investments going into batteries lately. But there are still a lot of optimizations that is needed. And that is, again, where we come in, to help out in optimizing the usage of batteries, and in that way increase cost efficiency as well as increase weight efficiency and safety. And we can do that simply because we have our core technology. Our nanoparticles can be put on a very thin optical fiber. Since it's an optical technique, that's also essential when going into something that is electric. You can't really put anything electric inside. But a very thin optical fiber can sit inside a battery without affecting its performance. And there it can also give the core information that is needed to optimize. Currently, in a sense, battery packs are optimized when you look at it from a distance. You're basically measuring voltage from the outside, while what is needed to optimize is to understand and see how lithium ions are going in and out of the electrode materials. So by giving that type of truly unique information to the battery steering system, we can increase the efficiency quite a lot and simply get out more and optimize both during operation as well as during how fast you can, for instance, charge your car. We are working with this both in European funded projects where we're running 2. The one that I think is most fun to talk about is the one that is called 3 Believe, where we have more than 20 actors involved, for instance, Volvo and Fiat, with the focus to developing the next generation vehicle battery, and where sensors are one of the important parts, of course. But it's what also happened recently is that we were able to get our technology into the research development department of one of the leading automotive industries in Germany, one of the big 3. And that is, of course, a huge advance for us. That is how technology usually is adopted. New technology, you start to get it into the industry. On the research side, then it moves further into testing and quality, and then it joins in the product. So long term, we can see how we again can use our research instrument and get acceptance for the technology, and in that way ensure that it goes into the product in the long run. So that, and what is really important about this is that we see how the information that our technology gives, it is now verified that it is needed by the industry. First in research, but the same information is also what is needed for optimizing the battery packs. One note about the team, we have been able to grow on the marketing side, so the 2 new faces that is on the edge here have joined during this year, and we are further balancing and heading more into this commercial organization that we have been focusing on lately. And a few notes about our share and our investment. I'm one of the companies that are not here to ask for more money. We have a pretty good run time ahead of us, as we were able to close a financing round less than a year ago, where we also got in some institutional and international investors, especially AP Venture is a VC company that is focusing on hydrogen and the hydrogen economy, and that has, of course, has strengthened our position in that field. So, to summarize, we are working with the technology that has been developed at Chalmers for a long time before it became a company. We are verifying it by selling it as a research instrument, and we are working in 3 hot areas where we bring in unique opportunities. So with that, some good questions maybe.
We have time for one.
One.
And it's about the change of CEO to Johan Rask. It's going to happen quite soon, well, beginning next year. Tell us about this shift.
I've been with Insplorion now for almost 8 years or something like that. And it's a lot longer than I usually stay because it's such a good and fun company. But I've been approached a few times lately, and now I simply thought that it's a good timing. But before I made the decision, I was able to discuss it with the board and initiate a good succession. And I'm really happy that it's Johan that joined. I don't know him personally, but I know about him. And I think he's a very good fit for where the company is and where it's heading. He's strong when it comes to trade sales, and he's strong on analytics, and he's strong on the commercial side. So I'm really glad that he's taking it from here on. From 1st of February until
1st
then,
of February.
I'm going to run it.
All right.
Definitely.
Well, thank you very much, Patrik. And best of luck with your new endeavor.
It will be fun too.
Thank you.
Thank you.